Call to order the joint meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council and the Minnehaha County Commission. We'll begin with a the day today is Tuesday, June 19th. We'll begin with a roll call of the City Council members.
Council members Aguilar.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Entenmann.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Jameson.
Here.
Karski.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Staggers.
Present.
And
The record will show that Peckus, Barth, and Kelly are here for commissioners.
we'll begin with a Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We'll begin then with the approval of the regular agenda. I need a motion on the city side, please.
So moved, Karski.
Second, Jameson.
I have a second from Councilor Karski, or a motion by Councilor Karski and a second by Councilor Jameson. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Aguilar.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Entertain a motion on the county side.
So moved.
Barth, move. Peckus, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, that being done, we'll move ahead with the petitions.
Item number 1 is appeal of conditional use permit CUP 1225 to allow a temporary fireworks stand on property legally described as Whitrock Track 1, EXE 30 feet in the Northwest 1/4, Northwest 1/4 Section 22, T101 North, R50 West, West 12th Street, and Ellis Road intersection. The Planning Commission recommends denial.
Good evening, Council. Dustin Powers with the County Planning Department. Today we're looking at a property that is located in the southeast corner of the intersection of West 12th Street and Ellis Road. The property is currently zoned commercial and is in the joint jurisdiction with the City of Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County. The properties to the west and north are both zoned A1 agricultural. The property to the south is zoned I1 light industrial, and the properties to the east are zoned commercial as well. The petitioner has applied for a conditional use permit to allow an annual 9-day fireworks sale from June 27th to July 5th from the hours of 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. on each of those days. The fireworks would be sold from a tent that would be located on the west end of that lot, and that will be shown on a site plan here shortly. The parking would be in the area between Chasers and Spirit and the proposed tent location. And access to the lot would be served from West 12th Street. As you can see from the aerial, there are actually 3 entrances into the area here. Accesses from West 12th Street. They would be utilizing the last one there to the west. There were concerns at the Planning Commission on the May 21st meeting that there would not be enough parking to accommodate both Chaser's Bar as well as the proposed tent and fireworks stand. After doing some calculations and the proposed site plan that's in front of you, both Chaser's Bar and the proposed fireworks stand would need to accommodate 34 spaces. The site plan shown in front of you shows 51 spaces being accommodated for on this site. So there is ample parking for this use on this property. At the May 21st meeting, the planning commissions of the Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County had a split decision on whether to approve or deny this. The city's planning commission approved this request with a 3-2 vote with the recommended conditions that are in the memo. And then the Minnehaha County Planning Commission denied this request with a 4-3 vote. Following the meeting, there was an appeal of the decision by the applicant, and that is why this has been forwarded to you here today. The commission today needs to take action either to uphold, reverse, or void the Planning Commission's decision to deny conditional use permit 12-25. If the County Commission and City Council selects to approve the conditional use permit here today, staff is recommending that the 8 conditions listed in the memo be the conditions that are approved with the conditional use permit 12-25. So if there are any questions, I can answer those at this time.
Thank you, Dustin. Questions for Dustin from City Council or County Commissioners?
Chair.
Yes, Councilor Anderson.
Question one, I guess, is how many of these fireworks stations actually operate out of tents nowadays? I guess I just...
Most of the temporary ones do. There are a few that that are able to sell for a longer period of time, and those are operated out of permanent buildings. We've approved, last year we approved one located on the east side, and there are a number that have been approved that may still be operating out there. Some of them, there's a conditional use permit still on the property, but some of them are operating now. A lot of them are selling either out of tents or like the pod containers, just because they're easier to move on and move off in a 9-day period than to do a permanent building. And since it's a temporary use, it's usually a temporary structure that they're operating out of.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Councilor Rolfing?
Yes, as I see the notes here, it says that this is going to be, if we allow this, this will be a, not a one-year deal, but until the property is rezoned, this would be allowed?
It's an annual 9-day event, so every year between the dates of June 27th and July 5th, this would occur. Unless this property were to be annexed into the city, then the conditional use permit would go away. Or if, future development were to, if a widening of that roadway or something were to occur that would hinder or make the site where it would not be able to meet the setbacks or something for this proposed use, then it would go away as well.
Another one? Do we, there are obviously, we took into consideration the city park that's right across, right? Kitty corner from that, right?
Yeah, it's straight north of there. The family park is north
Family
of there.
park. Do we have any other fireworks stands that are that close to city parks?
Well, I would say that if you look at the map that's currently on the screen, the building to the very far building on the east side does have a conditional use permit to operate a fireworks stand out of that building. There currently is no one operating out of there at this time. That permit was issued in 2004 and is still current with our office. If you go further east about another half mile, there's a fireworks stand on West 12th Street as well that's approved. That's still in the county. It's surrounded entirely by city limits, but it's a property that is still within county jurisdiction. As for the proximity to parks, I guess I can't speak to how close, a number of those are.
Okay.
Other questions of Dustin? I'm going to open it up at this time to public input then. Thank you, Dustin. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this item on this agenda tonight? Yes, please come forward and state your name.
Good afternoon. Doug Washburn. I'm the owner of Hillside Body. If you look up on the map, I'm the building to the south, not the building right next to the red line, but the building to the south. I've been on that corner since 2003. The previous conditional use permit for the fireworks stand he was talking about with the building to the east side, that was a friend of mine that had that. And, he hasn't been there for a couple of years, and he actually got that permit before that was a park across the street. When he had that fireworks stand down there, I had a lot of littering problems. And, right now it's kind of what I'm looking at is the littering issue that I'm going to have to deal with July 5th, which, just like all of you, I would like to enjoy July 4th myself and hopefully July 5th as well. The other things that worry me are the things like the 50-foot sign. Well, my lot's 150 foot from where his stand's going to be, so I really don't see how a 50-foot sign is going to stop anybody from shooting off fireworks in my parking lot. Now, the last year Jeremy Labor had that fireworks stand on the corner, I came in and I found fireworks shot in, on, off, and at my own personal pickup, which it's my pickup. It's a farm truck, but it's my pickup. If somebody's going to blow it up, I'm going to be the one to blow it up. So, for me, this is going to cause a big mess issue for me, and I'm kind of against it. We run a body shop. What we have is flammable. Makes no sense to put explosives right next door to us in a tent. So I just ask that you all use your common sense when you look at this and understand that we had to go through the same steps to get what we got, to run what we got, and it just doesn't make any sense to put explosives that close to something flammable. The building right to the north of us, that's a mechanic shop. There again, they're even closer. They got plenty of cars in their parking lot. If you flip through them pictures on where that one tent's gonna be, they're within 50 foot of where this tent's gonna be in this container holding these fireworks. So I guess that's about all I got to say about it.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Washburn? Steve, could you show us on that, on one of those, what he's talking about in terms of distance between the tent and his business?
Go down to the one on the bottom there, right there. That parking lot right there is Santos Repair. My parking lot's on the other side of that, and that's where his 50-foot sign ain't gonna do me no good. It's gonna do me worse.
Okay.
So, and like I said at the previous meeting, it's a fact of life. There's laws against drunk driving. People do that all the time. So I don't know where a sign is gonna stop anybody from walking up into my parking lot and lighting off fireworks, especially considering I'm in the county. Right on the other side of us is an apartment building, and there's plenty of kids in there, and I already have problems with them the way it is. You know, we gotta chase them out of our back lot all the time. It's kids. Kids will be kids. So there again, I just ask that you guys use your common sense here.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for him? Thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. Councilor Jameson, I apologize.
Could I just verify, where is your property? On the,
Right on the other side of that parking lot you see right there.
could I get the overhead picture, Steve? That'd help me, yeah.
If you zoom in, the red box, there's two buildings. I'm the building to the south, right there.
Okay, and the building that's to the furthest north, what is that building?
They do mechanical repair.
Mechanical repair, okay. But you own that whole area?
No, I'm just in the building. I rent the building.
You
to
rent
my
the building?
business. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, and again, last comment I'd like to make is July 5th. If you guys let this go through, I invite you all to come up to my parking lot to take a look at what's gonna happen, so.
Thank you. Councilor Staggers.
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious. You're saying that on July 5th, you're going to see a lot of fireworks in your,
Yeah.
just because this stand is there?
Yeah, it happened when Jeremy Labor was in the building down there, and he was a friend of mine. He came up and helped me clean it up every year.
Yeah, but I find it hard to believe that people would be setting off the fireworks from that.
July 5th, come on up. That's all I can tell you. I mean, I've been on this corner since 2003. I've dealt with this in the past. So,
Okay, so if we don't approve this, you won't have anything in your parking lot?
since Jeremy quit doing his fireworks stand, I really haven't had any problems with it.
Thank you.
Other questions? Councilor Ralphing.
We're having trouble figuring out which building it is that has the fireworks permit now. Is it the one?
It's if you look on the red box, the building right next to the red box is Chaser's Bar, and the
Yep.
building right next to that, over a little ways, right there is where they had their stand before.
Can you circle that, Steve? That one that Steve has the arrow on now? Okay.
There.
Other questions, clarifications? Again, thank you for coming and speaking. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Other folks from the audience who would like to, yes, please come up and state your name, address the boards.
I'm Lucille Langdon. We own the property, that whole section there. And I also do not think this is right on kind of a city park that close. I mean, I can't imagine you guys even thinking of letting people shoot fireworks or buy fireworks there and go over to the city park and shoot them. I mean, I guess this is, to me, too close to the city. Right to the east of us is all city. All surrounding us is city. So the kids from the apartments, that's city. And like I told the guy in the apartment, they're not for it. And I told him, I said, if they come down and shoot it on our works, I'm going to call the sheriff's department because I don't think this is right. And I don't think you guys have realized that Chaser's Bar uses most of that parking weekends. They're going to be parking on grass. County has always told us you can't park on grass. If our guys, and Doug Washburn can verify it, if they put a car out on the grass, the county's right there and tell them to move it. They're going to be parking on grass. Plus, that is a bad road, 12th Street. I mean, they're coming into that driveway right past the intersection. Cars are going to be slowing down. I mean, you're going to either have somebody getting hurt, killed, whatever, because there's so many accidents on that corner as there is. And somebody did bring up, Rex, I guess, did bring up the deal, you know, they say temporary permit. To me, that's not a temporary permit when it's forever. I mean, I can't understand that you can say temporary permit because that's not temporary. And I just, you know, I just hope that you guys realize that how close this is to people and other people's property and can't quite understand, and I hope we have your support on this. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Questions for Ms. Langdon? Yes, Commissioner Barth.
So what are the boundaries of the property that you own on this?
We own the 3 buildings right there where Doug Washburn was.
Where's,
The 2 green on there and the white. That whole section right
Just
there.
to the south of the proposed stand?
Right, yeah, just to the south of it.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
the ones that have the building, the first building that's behind it, that is used cars and an auto repair shop. I didn't invite them because they only speak Spanish, so it would be very hard for them to come for something like this. So, you know, but I know they don't like it either.
Other questions? All right, thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. Anyone else from the audience that would like to speak? Yes, sir, come forward and state your name, please.
Good evening, Mike Denning with the fireworks store, the petitioner here. To answer a couple of the questions that came up earlier, or comments or concerns about the distance. I'm a member of the NFPA, which is National Fire Protection Act, and in that you can't sell fireworks 50 feet from a building, and we are more than 50 feet from any property there. So we're just following the National Fire Protection Act, is what we're doing here as far as distance. We don't shoot off fireworks there, we're just there to sell fireworks. We have to put up signs by law that say have to be 150 feet away, which they would be within that, but we're not there to shoot off any. We don't promote that with our employees or anything of that nature. I guess I would entertain any questions that you folks might have.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Denning? Councilor Staggers?
Yeah, how many jobs will you be providing during that 8-day period?
At least 6 to 8 people. And it is temporary, like they brought up earlier. When you have all these conditional use permits, it can be renewed every year, but at the same time, you have to meet all that criteria. So it could be just 1 year and done with your approval. If you get annexed in or you decide to change the rules, I'm fine with that.
Okay. That answered your questions, Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Then Councilor Karski.
Mike, are there, as a member of the NFPA, rules that say federal, state, anything that say how close to a fireworks stand fireworks can be discharged?
You have to be at least 150 feet away, Dean.
150 feet away? And all the land around there, I imagine, is private property. Is that correct?
Yes.
Except to the north would be the city park?
On the north side of the road, there's an empty field there. It looks like somebody's farming alfalfa or something like that there. I'm not sure who owns that.
Okay.
I know that you can see the park across the other side where you see the water in the park. It's a beautiful park.
Okay. And if I could, one more. You mentioned that you'd have security on site 24/7?
That is correct. We have security. Once we put the product in the tent, we have somebody there all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Jackson.
Mike, the time is pretty important here. I mean, you have like 10 days. How many days before the 4th can you sell?
You have 9 days to sell, June
9
27th through July 5th.
And if you fail here today, where would you go and what would you do? Do you have other stores?
Would not go anywhere. I mean, this one, you know, if you vote it down, then I'm out. I mean,
But do you have other
do
stores?
I have other sites? Yes.
How many? Can you tell me?
6.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Councilor Anderson?
When looking at this area and this property, were you aware of the permit on the building to the east of the property?
Yes.
And did you consider that as a possible location?
No, because if you go back to the parking, what Dustin shared with you, for that property, that parking would not meet that expectation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from either council or county commission? Thank you, Mr. Deming. We
Thank you.
appreciate you coming and speaking to us. Anyone else from the public who'd like to speak? Yes, sir. Please come forward and state your name.
My name is Pat Beckman, Beckman Development and Realty Company. My involvement in this is that I help Mike find these sites around Sioux Falls and that. One of the things that we could do that would alleviate maybe the problem to the south is that we would move the tent a little bit farther to the north and pick up another 25, 30 feet, move the generator, and there was a site plan that had that generator in there. If we move that black, which is the tent, move that a little bit farther to the north, that would take that away from the property, and it would also then, we could move that generator just a little bit, which would then maybe alleviate some of the problem. The fact that the gentleman was talking about the people before that had been over there in the other building selling fireworks and made a mess, that doesn't necessarily mean that Mike will be making a mess of anything. And I think that the fact that he has come before a board like this, where before you just had to kind of go down and sign, back about 15 years ago when that used to be a fireworks stand, that's changed now, and you have that authority here. You see the problems. I don't see where what somebody else did some years back should have any effect on what Mike wants to do. And I ask you to take that into consideration very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckman. Questions for Mr. Beckman? Yes, Commissioner Kelly.
Have you seen the 8 stipulations that our planning commissioners put on?
No. I just
Do we have a copy of those, Dustin?
know what we can do with that for moving the building.
The planning department, in the event this was passed, recommended 8, am I correct there, 8 stipulations. Question is, do you have any problem with complying with any of those?
The only one, Mr. Kelly, that I see might be a little bit of a problem, and that is the square footage of the sign. And I say that only because I think all of those signs that are portable that you get with the lights behind them from Pride Neon, I think those are all 4x8s instead of less. This said 32 square feet, and the sign up there says, well, that's 4x8, so that's 32. Maybe that's what they are then. I don't see where anything else would be a problem.
Any other questions for Mr. Beckman? Yes, Councilor Staggers.
You mentioned 15 years ago. Did you mean that 15 years ago there was actually a fireworks stand on this site here?
No, sir. I'm talking about
place.
the one to the
Okay.
east.
Okay, thank you.
That building is not very good shape.
Okay. Other questions for Mr. Beckman? Councilor Entman.
I noticed the parking on this that's shown here on that map that was just up there. The parking spots were indicated. Those are supposed to be parking spaces that are shared with the bar. Is that correct?
What they did, sir, was they figured the amount of square footage of a building, which is the way you always do it, how many square feet you need, or how many parking spaces you need per square feet of building space. And so the account was that they needed 32, I believe it was, and they now have 51.
And those aren't marked spaces at all because it's just open ground there, right? So we don't know how the people are going to park in that area at all. It's all going to just be determined when they drive in. They're not lined or nothing like that.
Well, we could go in and as far as putting a boundary in there, we could put something up temporary that would block parking to the west. There could be some stanchions like they do at any other facility.
Okay, thank you.
But you're right. Some people do not, even with the lines, as we know, people don't always use them.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Beckman? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming and speaking to us. Anyone else from the public that would like to speak to this item? Yes, or just briefly, because you have spoken prior.
My issues aren't with Mr. Denning. My issues are with public and how public does things. Public comes into my shop, they get a car painted, they leave. I can't stop them from doing a burnout down around the corner. So my issues aren't with Mr. Denning at all. As far as the fireworks stand 15 years ago, that wasn't that long ago. Bump and them they've only not done that for the last couple of years. That was only 4, 5, 6 years ago. The other thing I want to say before I thank you again for your time is that you're putting a fireworks stand where you got on one side alcohol and on the other side flammables. Common sense. Common sense.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Looking for action from City Council. Motions. Councilor Jameson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve so that we could engage the, I think it's important if we have both bodies engage in a discussion so that we don't act without the county's involvement in the discussion. I think we've, in the past, made some jumps and we've kind of forgotten to include the full body. If we could.
Right, exactly.
I'd
So
like,
your motion then, Councilor Jameson, is to uphold?
yes, just for discussion purposes, yes.
And then,
Second, Aguilar.
and then a question for clarification. I'm not sure all council members have access to the 8, or are they on SIRE, the 8 conditions? They
SIRE.
are on SIRE? Okay. And you have looked at them, and are those included in your motion, Councilor Jameson?
Yes.
And in your second, Councilor Aguilar?
Yes.
All right. Then we have a motion and a second on the table for the city. Would the county like to take action or propose?
Okay, do I have?
Mr.
Jeff?
Chair, you know, I think we should maybe go ahead and use Councilman Jameson's motion to discuss it, and if I might be allowed to. I do think that having a bar on one side, having an apartment complex, and having high-speed traffic going in, and that corner is not a lazy corner like it used to be. The parking, as you see, it's not going, people are going to be pulling in there with their horse trailers, garbage trucks, and whatever else parked helter-skelter. And, you know, I can see easily having folks rumble out of the bar and buying fireworks at any hour. I think that recognizing that the time constraint is rather quick, I don't think that we have the time to figure out all the all the things necessary to make this a safe operation, and I'm not inclined to support it.
Other questions or comments from
We
either
have-
side then?
We have no motion on the county side, so if you want to take action, then we'll follow.
Well, do we want to go ahead and do as Councilor Jameson and Commissioner Barth have said, and just have the discussion under the one
Discussion,
motion,
fine, yes.
and then you can make your motion
Yeah.
later? Is that all right with
That's
the
fine.
boards to do that?
I would think maybe they can help us, our clerks, but don't we need to have two motions, the same motion on the table? And the county has not had a motion to even discuss.
Okay. Okay. So you have a motion on the, county side?
I have a motion.
I'm not inclined to support it.
I have a motion.
Well, just for discussion, I'll second it.
We have no you have a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we have two motions on the table then, and the joint body discussion. Questions or comments from either Councilor Jameson?
Right, I think just having this joint discussion is an important part of this joint meeting that has oftentimes been overlooked just due to a lot of reasons. But thank you very much for going through this and getting to this awkward moment. I just throw out that, the issue of the neighbors that they have inclines me to say that the applicant needs to find another location that has neighbors who are accepting this practice. I feel bad that it's this late hour, but that wasn't my doing, I suppose, to bring it at this hour. But I would encourage the applicant to find a more suitable situation where neighbors are supportive of the use. The flammables next door, that's a red flag for sure. The alcohol next door, that's a red flag. The traffic, red flags. The fact that the planning commissions were split, that's a red flag. There's just enough to say that this is a bad idea. It isn't make or break, I don't believe, for the business owner. He has other locations to capitalize on. So I just wanted to add that as my part of the discussion.
Thank you. Other comments or questions, either from council or commission? Councilor Staggers?
Yeah, in this discussion this afternoon, unfortunately, there's one important idea that has not been brought before the council and commission, and that is simply property rights. It seems like in discussions that we have dealing with telling people what to do with their property and what they can't do and so forth, nobody ever brings this up. And of course, this is an important part of our Constitution in the 5th and 14th Amendments. This is something that's been important in our heritage, and we just seem to disregard it, and we're concerned more about parking than we are the property rights or whatever the case might be. So I guess I would hope that my colleagues would, maybe consider this time property rights. We're talking about 9 days, we're not talking about 365 days. And we're also talking about the opportunity for some people to have some jobs for just a short period of time, make some extra money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Staggers. Councilor Karski?
Yeah. Being that this intersection isn't real far from where I live, I have a fairly good idea of the traffic and what goes on out there. This is a controlled intersection. Eventually, this corner will become, from what I can see, probably a very busy retail center. And the fact that there's a bar next door, et cetera, I don't think that should influence the 9 days that this fireworks stand would be in here. And there's controlled access into there. I have no idea why we would, I would encourage your support of this going forward.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Karski. Commissioner Kelly?
I would just like to comment that property rights accrue also to the people in the other properties surrounding it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? That being said, we have two motions on the table.
Go ahead with yours.
City will vote first. Roll call, please.
Council members.
May I question, please?
Yes.
Only question I have is, could you please tell us what the motion is?
The motion is to uphold the appeal to approve it. Is that correct? Dustin, will you help us clarify?
If you're going to approve the conditional use permit, then that would be to reverse the planning commission's decision to deny the permit. So you would be approving the permit with the 8 stated conditions.
So clarify the motion, Councilor Jameson. Is it your intent to uphold the planning commission or to reverse the planning commission?
It was the motion was made to uphold.
To uphold. That was my understanding, was to uphold
So that
the
would
planning commission. That would deny the permit.
So that would be a yes vote?
A yes vote would deny the permit.
Which planning commission?
Which planning commission? Both the joint planning commissions.
I know, but the city, as I understand, Justin, the city approved, the county denied?
Yes, but because there was a split decision, then the conditional use permit was denied at the planning commission level and forwarded to you to make the final decision.
So your motion has to state which planning commission you're supporting?
No, it's the joint planning commission.
The joint planning commission
Yes.
denied the permit because
So
of
we are
the split
upholding the
decision.
denial with a vote yes. Is that understood by everyone now? Thank you so much. Now I would like a roll call vote from the city side.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
No.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Thank you. That motion passes 6-2, county side. Yes.
Only a lawyer, only an attorney would bring that up. Okay, so we have a motion on the county side to uphold the planning commission and deny the rezoning. Is that correct? Is that, Jeff, do you understand
Just to
that?
be clear again, yes means no.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we'll do roll call.
just vote no.
Commissioner Peckus? Yes. Commissioner Barth?
Yes.
Chairman Kelly?
Yes. That's it?
That motion passes
passes.
3-0. I would entertain a motion on the city side for adjournment.
So move Anderson.
Second, Rolfing.
And all in favor, say aye.
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 Those
Same.
opposed, same sign.
No, continue.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion
This
carried.
meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much. The informational meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council will resume in 5 minutes.
Good luck, John.